Right then. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Internet of Everything capstone project, IoT6. And this morning we're going to try and get to know each other, but we'll run through a few points first. Okay, so just so you know, these meetings will be recorded. If you have an issue with that, please let us know, but they are being recorded so that if you do happen to miss one of the meetings, you'll be able to listen later on and catch up. All of the meetings will be recorded and they'll be posted on a YouTube channel. The information on that channel is up on the edX website. And if you're interested, you can listen into any of the other discussions that happen during the week, including the ones that are in the other sections, other topics. Okay, I apologise for all the invitations you may have received. Every time I make a change on the WebEx meeting site, it sends out a new email. So we won't need to do this anymore. We're posting up a link and information on how to join the WebEx conferences in the discussion area. For the relevant groups, the details of the conference will be posted within that discussion group, or that discussion group that we have. All right, so the purpose behind these meetings is to, number one, get to know you and to start discussion on the topics that you're actually doing. We want people to be able to work together. We want to have contact with you. We want you to run these sessions more or less. It's there for you to speak to both the advisors, who you'll meet shortly, and also the other students. Your peers will be great help when you're working through things. They understand where you're at with the development. They understand the issues that you're having, and it's really good to work together. We have no problem with people working together, even to the point of having joint projects. However, if you are going to do a joint project with someone, make sure that you have set up the project so that it is clear what is your contribution and what is your partner's contribution. We need to have this so that we mark the submissions on an individual basis. I'll be putting up more information on how to manage this and how to reference the work that other people do later on as we progress through. But as I said, it's actually a really good thing to be able to work with someone, to share resources, to share knowledge. Just make sure that you report what you did and what they did as separate items. What's your contribution? It's that whole thing that we have in our collaboration good, plagiarism is bad. Right, so for the meeting, we're going to try and have as many of the advisors available as possible. Each of these advisors has a particular area of expertise. We actually have a new one with us today. And we'll have them introduce what their area is. When you have a question on a particular topic, please, when you email, which is usually the best way to catch up after these meetings, put either the topic in the subject line or the advisor's name in the subject line so we know who we want to answer it. As I said, we will all try to be here every week, but sometimes we get called away on other business and we get fairly busy. So it may not be possible to have all of us here every single week, but we will be available via email on that IoT capstone email address. So I'll go through some ground rules now, if I can get this to go to the next slide. Okay, so as I said, this is shared. We've got people from all over the world. We'll find out where when you do your own introductions. So we should be a little bit careful of what we say and what we do. Always be polite and respectful of others. You should note on the right-hand side, I can't see it myself at the moment. On the right-hand side of the WebEx screen, you have a list of participants and you should be able to put your hand up. It should be there. And if you have a question, click on that. Josh will jump in and let us know that you have a question, and we can then unmute you and pass you over to the person you need to speak to. So wait your turn. Raise your hand if you've got something to say, or enter the question in the chat panel. And again, Josh, and please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. We get a lot of feedback. Background noise is very disturbing, and it can make life a little bit difficult. So please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. Video is optional. But there is no absolute need to have a webcam running. It can be very, very useful when we get to the point of having prototypes done. If you've got a question on how to wire something up, you can hold your device up to the camera. I can't see my own video, like so. Probably made for commercial measurement units. But it is handy to be able to see what you're doing or to see the person, and it's nice to know. But as I said, it is not necessary. If you don't feel comfortable using video, then you don't have to. We're going to ask you to introduce yourself in a second. We'll get the instructors to do that first. Josh, you have the list and we'll run through. And we'll come back and we'll talk about you in a second. So I'll start. I'm Professor Ian Murray. I'm a academic staff member at Curtin University in the School of Electrical Engineering, Computing and Mathematical Sciences, which covers lots of things. My expertise is in the general IoT. My research is in medical electronics and assistive technologies, particularly in the IoT field. And I deal a lot with people with cerebral palsy, measurement of pre and post-operative recovery from surgery, and people with vision impairment. Also got quite a bit of interest in subsistence farming and agriculture as far as the IoT goes. If you have any general ideas, particularly on the course itself, how to set up or how to prepare your submissions, what you need to submit, what it should look like, I'm the person to talk to. So now I'll hand over to Josh. You should have control and be able to see everyone. Don't forget we now have David McMeekin with us, so he will be having a bit of an intro later on too. So Josh, can you run down our list of advisors, please?
Yes. Can you hear me okay, Ian?
Yep.
I'll introduce myself first. I'm Josh. You might recognise my name from the discussion boards and the emails. I've been answering a lot of those. I recognise a lot of the names here. I'm a supervisor of the networking labs at Curtin, and I've been doing creating some of the demos and practical activities that you've been doing throughout the course. So I'm quite familiar with Tinkercad and Packet Tracer and other things like that. If anyone has any questions on that during the course, I'll hand over to Naz is here. She can introduce herself. Naz, are you there?
Hi, I'm Nazan Mohammadi. I'm an academic staff in EECMS, or Electrical Engineering, Computer and Mathematical Science on Curtin University. My expertise is on networking, remote environments, and if you have any issues with the implementation of the type of network we want for your IoT systems or protocols you want to know more about, I can help you with that. And yeah, that's all from me. Yes, Josh, the next person.
I can see Hannes. Are you there, Hannes?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Yeah, hi, I'm Hannes. I'm from the area of computing here at Curtin University. I'm a lecturer specializing in algorithm design and artificial intelligence, and I have a very strong mathematics and logic background. I'm really here for any solutions that require more complex computational solutions, coding, that sort of thing. So if you are looking at designing an algorithm, or if you're not quite sure whether something is going to work on a computational basis, I'd be happy to chat with you.
Thanks, Hannes. We have Sivash here. Hello, Sivash.
Hi Josh. Hi everyone. I'm Siavash. I'm also a lecturer here at Curtin. I teach mostly embedded system units, microcomputers, foundation, digital design, embedded systems. So anything to do with small electronics, building them, designing them on the PCB side. I do my research in assistive technology, actually under supervision of Hannes and Ian. I work with children with cerebral palsy. I track their movement using inertial measurement units. So if you ever had any questions with small electronic stuff, embedded systems, choosing your microcontrollers, choosing your sensors, I'd be delighted to ask, and I look forward to working with everyone.
Thanks, Siavash. Ian, did you say we have someone else here? Is David?
David McMeekin.
Yes, welcome, David.
Hi. Sorry. Yep, I'm here. So I'm David McMeekin, and oops, let's just so you can see my face, hopefully. So I'm David McMeekin. I work at Curtin University in the department or the School of Earth and Planetary Sciences. And my background is in computer science and software engineering. So I'll be involved in looking at helping people along the lines where it comes to different things with coding and spatial science. The spatial sciences is very much into location information and dealing with information that has location embedded into it, as well as being involved in some IoT projects in regards to agriculture and farming. And I also run the other MOOC, or one of the other MOOCs we have at Curtin. I'm running on the edX platform, which is teaching iOS development. So if there's anything in those areas, that's where I'll be coming into it. So looking forward to getting to know people over the course of the Capstone project.
Great, thanks, David. I think that's all the instructors we have here today. Is that right, Ian?
We have one other, Valerie. Valerie is our programming expert. She also works in the computing area and is an absolute gun on Python, big data, data science and those sort of areas. So she will join us when she can, but she's very, very busy with her other teaching. But if you just email, if you've got a question on that area, Valerie will be happy to help, I would expect. I think we've covered everyone now. If not, please raise your hand if we've missed an instructor, but I don't think we have. Okay, so what we'd like to do now is we would like to know a little bit about the students in this group so that, number one, we know who you are and hopefully where you are, and have some idea of what you want to do within this project. The other side of that is we really want other students who are working in a similar area to basically meet you and see if you can help each other out with the learning, with the process, and the development itself. So we really are encouraging this collaboration. It's how things work in the real world. And this is the ideal time to put forward your idea, if you've got an idea, so that everyone knows what you're up to and you can start forming these teams to move your design forward. If you don't have an idea at the moment, feel free to say so. There's no harm in that. And we will try to look at how to best direct you according to your interests, see if we can build on your project. And occasionally we'll interrupt people doing their introduction and tell them, things that may help them finalise or clean up the idea that they have or expand it out to be something more suitable. So again, we'll go back to Josh, who will now do call your name out. And if you could please say who you are, where you are, and what your idea is, or if you're not sure, let us know.
Okay, so I'll go down the list alphabetically, and just please make sure to click the button to unmute your microphone before you speak, and then turn it off again when you're finished. Thanks. And I'll start with Aditya. Welcome, Aditya. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you fine. Hello.
Yeah, I am Aditya from India. My idea is on a waste management. I want to sort the waste: plastic, paper, rubber, a type of plastic, PET, SGP, PET paper, PET plastic, using sensors and AI. So it will solve the sorting problem at dumping time only, and transfer that waste using RFID tags. Like on a plastic, the RFID tag placed in a plastic tag only, plastic bag. So it will sort the problem for waste management in India.
Would that be at the depot when the waste is all collected and being processed in a recycling depot?
Hello?
Would that be in the recycling centre or at the bin level?
It's a bill label.
At the bin level.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one. We've actually got a couple of engineering students here working on that area, so I'll be happy to share that information with you later on when you need it. One of the things I'd be very seriously looking at is isolating out batteries. Batteries are a big problem in landfill. They're heavy metals, they poison the ground, they need special handling, they should be recycled because we've got a rarity of these heavy metals. And it's hard to actually pick out what's a battery and what's just a tin can. So that's one area in the sorting at the bin level that you look at alongside the plastics, glass, recycling. But a really important part is to be able to pull batteries out.
All right, great. Thanks, Aditya. Next
Thank
on
you.
this, Ahmed, are you there? Hello.
Hello, Ahmed Kawana. I'm Ahmed Kawana from Egypt. And I'm from my background, my expertise was in the field of the mobile communications. I'm a solution architect. My idea is to connect the ambulances to the traffic control system, so I can know that so the ambulance can report the way in case of emergency. So the system can drain the traffic from its way and can in this way it can save some patient life and it can decrease also the accidents due to this.
Okay, that's an interesting one. You broke up a little bit there, so I may have missed something. But would you build into that form of patient monitoring that could be communicated directly to the hospital? So as they're passing through the traffic, the hospital will know exactly where the patient is, but they will also have some key readings from the patient themselves, things like their blood pressure, temperature, heart rate, those sort of things. Would that form part of the project?
Yeah, that can be. Actually, my idea is that when the ambulance arrives to get the patient, it can report the place and the degree of the emergency, and then it sends it to the system of the traffic, so it can know the best way that it can go through to the hospital, and then the system itself can control the signals to make some traffic signaling more green and the other more red. So the way is it will take short time. It can make always the signals in the way of the ambulance green, so it will not stop on any signals. And at the same time, it can send some data to the hospital, to the emergency receptions can know the status before the patient arrives.
Excellent. I think that's one for you, Dr. McMeekin, that location-based service, find out where the ambulance is, be able to plot routes, etc. So I would you have a bit of a word later on with David McMeekin. His area is in that the spatial and mapping, locating where the ambulance is, etc.
All right, great. Thanks, Ahmed. The Ayotunda, is it next on the list? Are you there, Ayotunda?
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Yeah, you can hear me. Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Aloba Ayotunde. I'm calling from Nigeria. I'm a telecoms network expert, but I have an interest in IoT. And my idea is about a smart mouse mice exterminator. Over here in Nigeria, we tend to have issues with mice. Mice running all over the place. They go through crevices. You don't really know how they come in, so that's the difficult part. So, and they tend to be very intelligent when it comes to the other mouse traps that you have, mechanical gums, or even rat poison. So they are very tricky using those kind of traps. But I got this idea on the internet that if you have a trap that uses high voltage, it's possible to kill the mice over a few seconds. But the problem now comes to if you have so many of that in the home, how do you get notified? Obviously, you could have it on the rat trap itself, but most times you might forget where you set the rat trap. So it's better to have an electronic notification system, either through email or maybe over your phone, where at any point in time when a mice is killed, you could be notified. And I'm thinking of a device that can capture multiple mice, capture more than one. So in such scenarios, I think I'll be needing actuators where if it catches one mouse, it will discard it into a compartment and get the trap ready for another over the night. And I'm thinking of using maybe Bluetooth, because this device will have to be battery conservative. So possibly the device might have to go to sleep and wake up at intervals, or when it senses a mouse, it wakes up and it electrocutes it, sends a message to maybe a cloud installation, which can notify the owner through an app at the end of the day, and go to sleep also. So the aspect of battery conservation is very important. Power conservation is very important in this solution. So I'll be hoping to get support from the faculties and in various aspects in terms of the battery, the circuit, and maybe the cloud installation.
That's interesting, Bill.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really good project. It'll be some method of identifying whether it's a mouse or not. Probably more from perspective. We have a lot of native animals which are relatively small. It could be killed by the trap inadvertently. So perhaps looking at size or weight or colour, that it's possibly a mouse. And that will also mean if it's electrical, a person comes up and moves the trap, it automatically turns off because the whatever's approaching it is too large to be a mouse, for example.
I think if something goes into it, there should be like maybe a detector, maybe infrared detector, or maybe presence detector. Could be incorporated into the hollows of the trap. So the hole that the trap goes, there should be a bait. So the bait will draw the mouse in, and if it triggers the detector, you have the circuit activating the switch for the high voltage electrocution. That's the idea.
It's an interesting one, that's for sure. I've always wanted to build a better mousetrap.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tunde.
Okay.
Next on the list, we have Bolarinwa. Now, you were saying you have some audio problems on the chat. Hopefully you can hear us okay. Are you there, Bolarinwa?
I can hear you.
Hello, we heard
good morning.
A little bit. Yep. Yes. Yes, I think we have you there.
Josh, I think he just wrote the idea because the network is not very good over there. If you can just read it from the chat.
Okay.
Okay, yes. Yeah, we weren't really picking that audio up, but he was saying that he'd like to talk about the idea. He's from Nigeria. I don't think we have any information. Maybe if you could type in the chat a little bit about yourself and your idea, and we'll read that out afterwards.
Yeah. One other thing while we're having audio, you can call in from most countries toll-free. So there's a number in the information that I've posted on edX, and it has toll-free numbers for each of the localities, or a link to the toll-free numbers, and you can use a standard phone system to join in the audio, and you can watch the video. So if you're having just purely audio problems, it's another way of getting in. Excellent. Okay, Josh.
Yes, next on the list is Brian. Are you there, Brian?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Hello.
Oh, okay. My name is Brian Cho, and I live in upstate New York, United States. I graduated from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in 2017, majoring in mechanical engineering. My idea is to improve suction power and battery life of robotic vacuum cleaners by replacing their expensive, power-hungry brain with more efficient microcontrollers, such as Arduino, Raspberry, or Azure, and leave all the AI decision makings to either edge computing, fog computing, or cloud computing, depending on the circumstances. And also utilize a mini indoor drone to 3D map each room so that the robotic vacuum cleaners can navigate around more efficiently. And the cleaning process goes something like this, in which a mini drone is sent out from its charging station, and the drone 3D scans its surroundings and wirelessly transmits its data to the server. Main computer analyzes the 3D map of each room and sends out necessary commands to nearby robotic vacuum cleaners. Then those vacuum cleaners receive all the necessary instructions needed to start their cleaning routine. And so they only need to follow the main computer's directions without relying on their own brains for making decisions.
Yeah, interesting. I think Hannes and David will be interested in that. Hannes from the AI perspective, and David from the mapping, because David's done a fair bit of work with me on indoor mapping. So how are you going to scan the room? Do you have a technique for actually building that scanned image up?
Well, I browsed around the internet and saw some 3D scanning algorithm or programs, but yeah, I have no idea where I could find a how should I say, program-based kit for building a prototype yet, but I'll figure it out over time, I think.
Yeah, we're actually doing something fairly similar in building up a map of rooms using both LiDAR, so the light and structured light scanning. So you can get structured light scanners fairly cheaply. The Microsoft Kinect is one of them. We use structure scanners, and they do a very good point of you can build a 3D image up from. So I can give you some details on that a bit later on. Just send me an email to remind me, and I'll shoot some data back. What we're doing is from two aspects: is indoor navigation for people with vision impairment, so it'll see the environment for them, and also a semi-autonomous electric wheelchair for people with both vision and motor disabilities. So you can give it a general direction, and the wheelchair will map the environment and move around obstacles. So a very similar sort of thing. We've got to build that map up, and then you've got to work out a path. So we can probably chip in a little bit on that one if you like.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. Josh?
All right, thanks for that, Brian. Chamita, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
So hi, I'm Chamita Guruge. I'm actually from Melbourne, Australia, and I'm thinking of working on a simple, cost-effective smart blind system. So to be able to control all the blinds in a house from a single location, and to be able to react to outside conditions on a light or time basis autonomously. And I'm planning to use that ESP32 platform for that because it has that Wi-Fi capability built onto it, and it should be able to be controlled from a phone or from a central control panel that's in the house. So that's a simple idea, but that's what I'm thinking of working on at the moment.
Okay, simple can be very good. This actually sort of ticks a few boxes on my part. Yeah, looking at opening, closing blinds depending on weather conditions, lighting,
Yes.
personal preference. You can build up a nice and have it predict what the person would like.
Yes, yes.
Now, the reason I'm really interested in this one is we also do some work on smart housing for people with severe disabilities. So a quadriplegic, usually bedridden, if you can have the curtains opening and closing according to their particular preferences and the weather conditions and what the temperature is, and that would actually be a very, very empowering thing to be able to do, giving further independence, not having to call your carer to go and just open blinds for you, and just free up the carer's time as well. So I see a really good application for that, not just in the general population being able to have a little bit of convenience, but something that would make a disabled person's life much, much better.
Yes, I mean, that's actually a whole different background to it that I think of. So thanks for that idea, actually.
No problem.
Yeah, great. Thanks. Next, I'll jump back to Bolarino, who's typed in the chat, and I'll just read that out. He says, I just graduated from electrical engineering a few months ago. My idea is to build a home energy management and monitoring system. Over here in Nigeria, we have problems with electricity. It's not stable and also very expensive. The monitoring would involve having an app to get real-time power consumption from the building, while management would involve the app having remote control of load connected to the system. He says, I'd love to talk about it extensively, but for my annoying connectivity. That's always a problem with these things.
That's a really good area to be into, the smart power management, microgrids, sharing of power resources. So if you've got batteries and someone else has got solar generation, you can share the power and not connect the grid, and that's really, really important in developing countries. So I look forward to having a bit of a chat to you about that at some point soon.
Great. And Gonzalo, are you there next? Hello?
I'm Gonzalo. I live in central Spain, and my idea is just to control the traffic lights of specific areas around downtown of cities, so that the flow of persons and vehicles around and in and to are controlled automatically depending on different circumstances of people getting to a traffic light to cross the street, of the number of vehicles waiting to pass, the weather condition, etc. That's my idea.
Yeah, and that's certainly a very good one and would save an awful lot of time for people. I suggest you team up with Ahmed, who mentioned he wanted to work on the ambulance traffic flow, because there are some commonalities there that you'll be able to share. One thing that you've really got the ability to do with your idea is to learn the traffic patterns. So you'll know at 5 p.m., for example, everyone's leaving office buildings Monday to Friday. So you'll know you will have this flow of traffic, pedestrian traffic, from each of the buildings going to each of the different train stations or bus stations to get on the transport. And you can set up not only the traffic lights, but also the pedestrian lighting, so that you get a nice continual flow of people moving. They get to the train time, so they're not missing the train because they got held up at a crossroad, and build a nice environment that would look at the overall traffic planning.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks for that, Gonzalo. Next is Jack. Hello, Jack.
Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Cool.
Can.
I'm Jack, and I'm in the United States. And to give a bit of background on my idea, I was talking to a friend who I went to school with a while back, and he worked at the college's athletics department when we were both students there. And one of his responsibilities was to go to all the athletic fields and empty the trash cans. But he was only supposed to empty them if they were at least half full. And there was no way for him to know that without having to go to each trash can individually. So my idea started off as kind of a way to solve that. I wanted to put like a scale inside each trash bin so he could see the weight of trash in it and know how full the bin was. And then it evolved from that kind of, because I was like, oh, if I'm going to have the weight of trash that's being produced, that could be used for companies, or at least on the small scale at my college. That's where this originated, so that they could track how much waste they're producing each year. And then I could have an app that lets them track that and provides them with educational resources to try and help them reduce their weight, so they could see like annually how their waste production goes up or down.
Yep, another really good one. We've actually got some smart bins on campus that can notify you when they're full. Other aspects I'd really think you should consider, could possibly consider, is not just whether the trash can is full, but is it giving off an odor? And there's some sensors around that you can detect methane, sulfur dioxide, those sort of gases which are offensive to people, and moisture, see if the bin is upright, somebody hasn't knocked it over. So there's a lot of attributes you can look at on the bin condition and whether it needs service attention. Now, tying it in with what, let me just go back. I can't see where it is. Oh, there we go.
It was Aditya, I think.
Yeah. Yep. And classifying the rubbish that goes into the bin. So between the two of you, you've got very distinct projects, which is what we need for the submissions. But there's a lot of commonality there that you can actually help each other out with. Okay.
Great, thank you, Jack. Next on the list is Magnetronics. Hello. Are you there, Magnetronics? I saw your screen.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Ahmad. I am from Egypt. I am a junior engineer, mechatronics department. My idea is to create a smart doorbell to help people outdoors. If any visitor, any delivery man, any postman, anyone in general, to help them to know if anyone come to them.
I think we've lost you. Okay, Josh, I think we've got Ahmed.
Yes, all right. Thanks, Ahmed. We may have lost you, but we did hear your idea. Thank you for that. Next on the list is Monza. Are you there? Yes.
My name is Monza. I'm from Syria. Actually, I spent about 17 years of my experience in Saudi Arabia as a consultant. I have a master's degree in management information systems. Recently, last 6 years, I spent my career in IT consultation for non-profit organizations. Actually, I'm trying to figure out how we can take advantage of this technology, IoT, to develop the IoT, the non-profit sector. So my idea was, actually I have more than, yeah. So my idea was,
I think we're losing you there, Monza. I can't hear, unfortunately.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Now you're back.
Can you hear me? My idea about
we keep losing you, I'm afraid.
It's gone again. We did hear you clearly for a little while.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's on and off. It might be if you just type something in chat, and if you send an email, I'll return up to you with my Skype number, and we can have a bit of a chat just to make sure you've got everything you need there. Okay, so Skype might work a little bit better. It's fewer people on there.
Okay.
Or if you don't use Skype, Zoom, or anything else that you can actually access.
All right. Okay, next on the list is Omar. Hello, Omar. How you doing?
Saw the message.
Oh, hi. Omar is on the chat, possibly having sound issues. All right, Omar, if you can also type your details in the chat, we'll read those out afterwards and come back to you. Hawley, is it next, please?
Hello, I'm Robert Hawley from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. A bit about me, I have about 25 years working as an electronics technologist, mostly in air traffic control products. I recently completed a bachelor's degree in technology management where my capstone project was working with LoRaWAN, so I'm a little bit familiar with that. My idea for the project is a tracking system for ultralight or microlight aircraft that will have a little bit of intelligence built into it so that it can tell if something irregular has happened with the aircraft and do some reporting to that. So I see some commonality between the person that was working with the ambulance tracking software there as well.
Yeah, there would be. And David would to assist in that mapping, tracking from the GIS, geographical systems perspective. So it sounds interesting. They scare the hell out of me, those microlights, though.
I'm also a pilot of one, which is why I have some interest in doing this as well.
I used to fly gliders, so you're crazy because you're in a small aircraft like that, and I was crazy for getting in an aircraft without an engine.
Yeah, this could apply to gliders as well, but the thing with ultralights in many countries is the unregulated nature of it might make it a little bit easier, whereas gliders are regulated nationally. So
right.
I'm also a glider pilot and have the idea to use it for gliders as well as for real-time tracking for competitions. But the gliders get a little funny into the regulatory aspect.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Robert. Next is Sharif Sagar. Is it Sharif? Hello, Sharif. Maybe not a good connection. All right, we'll come back to that if we hear from you. Otherwise, on the list after that, Surabai. Hello. All right, if we can't hear from either of you two, so I'm not sure what's happening there, but I'll read out Omar's message. He's written in the chat. He says he's an electronic engineer. I've worked mainly in the telecom domain and since recently have been working in the industrial domain. Originally from Colombia, now living in Europe since about 10 years. Living in Europe now, something I've noticed is in Europe quite a lot of people live alone at home, and he wants to make something that would help them to be communicated with the world. I think he's still typing more, possibly. Did we have any word from Sharif or Surabai, or is that it? for the moment. I'll possibly hear from them at another point. And I'll read out the rest of Omar's if you like. He's talking about communicating in the case of issues with electricity and with the shops, reporting on water, missing food, generally it looks like keeping someone under care while living at home alone in isolation.
That's a big market population in most countries, and the isolation that elderly people have. I'd also, if you want, consider tracking, again, normal movement. So as patients or as people age, can get dementia, and looking at normal patterns of behaviour to see that they're on time. Open the fridge, close the fridge. We know they've done something. The stove is turned on. Even to the point of taking their medicine on time, and alert carers or the authorities if things appear to go wrong, like there is no movement. They haven't opened the fridge in 24 hours, and that would actually assist in ensuring that they're safe at home. So that's just something else you could have a think about. Right.
So I think that's everybody who we're going to be able to hear from at the moment. Ian, should I pass back? We don't have much time left, but
no, we've only got a few minutes, but we can quickly go through a couple of things. If anyone had trouble communicating, email the IoT email address, and I'll send through a Skype name if you use Skype. If you use some other method of communication, let me know, and I'll get on and have a bit of a chat to you separately when it's next convenient for you. So just moving on before we actually run out of time. There's lots of interesting projects there. The purpose of these meetings in the future is to be asking questions of the advisors. We really want this to be driven by you rather than us talking at you during these meetings to make the best time of it. The peer support, talking to your peers, the other students in the course, is really going to be helpful. And they can actually give you feedback on whether you're going in the right direction, whether they think this is something that would be an economic or viable type product at the end. When you're proposing your idea, which is coming up fairly shortly, be ambitious, be really creative with it. You can always trim things back, but it's nice to be trying to solve the biggest problem you can. And we then go through the process of analysing the requirements. So we would have a set of requirements which would be, these are absolutely essential for this product to succeed. Then you have another set of requirements which are the ones which would be nice to have. And if you're going to get time, or if it's easy enough to implement, that's what you would add. And the third set of requirements are, in an ideal world, if everything went perfectly, this is what I'd like it to do. And that also gives you a roadmap for future development of your product. So as the technology improves, or you receive the funding to further develop your product, you can start heading towards those stretch goals. I can start discussions both on the discussion boards and amongst yourselves if you're willing to do that. And when you come in next fortnight, try and have a list of questions ready so that we can move through in our limited time and make the best use of the time we have together. So make a list of questions not just for the advisors, but also for your teammates. So we saw there's quite a number of things, projects being proposed that have a commonality. So try and work together on this, ask each other questions. How are you doing this? How are you sensing the weight of the bin, for example? And you can help each other out with these aspects. It's also very important because you'll find that the other people within the course have a very, very different skill set. We've had people say they've completed degrees in information systems, so the business side of data and information management. And then we've got quite a few mechatronics and electronic engineers, so they can do or look at and help with the technical development building side of these products and get help from the business perspective as well. So it's a really good environment to work across disciplines, and you should take advantage of that. So we're just about out of time. I'm looking for a clock. We've got 5 or 6 minutes left. Does anyone have any questions they would like to ask right now? You can use the chat. I hope everyone's getting used to the WebEx system. Josh will let me know if anyone has questions. Nothing coming up?
Not that. Oh, okay. Omar in the chat window is saying he has a question. Unless I can't. I'm still not sure if I can see the raised hands, Ian. It's possible.
Oh, okay.
If there are any.
Would be the final deadline for the final idea. All right, that's all within the WebEx. I don't have it off the top of my head. This coming week, we should be looking at developing. I'll stop sharing this. Developing the Lean Canvas proposal. The idea behind Lean Canvas is it's really sort of a mind dump, or just get everything out on paper, everything you think you should be doing, what are the possibilities, what are the challenges, and from there we can start narrowing down the focus. You can get some feedback on your general ideas from the marking. And from that we will then be looking at how we would prepare a formal video proposal to pitch your product to a group of, say, investors or management. But just check on edX. Everything as far as timelines go is up on there. I just don't have it in front of me at the moment. Let me just stop sharing. Right. Now, has anyone raised their hands? We do have another. Sebastian wanted to say something.
Yeah, just wanted to add, because I was just thinking about it with the mousetrap idea. There was just actually an episode of Black Mirror that had a character that built the exact same idea. So you might want to look for that with the mousetrap and the whole shocking the mouse rather than trapping them to their death. So it was Ashley O's episode of Black Mirror. If you wanted to look that up, item there. So that might interest you.
Okay. There doesn't seem to be any other questions. As I said, if you didn't manage to talk, please email me. I'll send through the link, or let me know what link you want to do or what platform you want to have a chat on, and we can just make sure that everything is starting out in the right direction. Make use of that email address to ask questions. Make sure that everything's going as you would like, and put either the subject or the advisor's name in the subject line so the right person gets it and you'll get the responses possible. I was going to mention it, I forgot. We will try to answer all emails within 2 working days. Generally, it will be quicker. Occasionally, it might not be as quick, particularly when our mainstream featuring gets really, really busy. If you haven't had an answer in a day or 2 or 2 days, please email again just to remind us and bring it back to the top of the list.
Ian, a couple of quick questions come in just about if they've got an idea that changes as they go, or if they've got more than one idea.
Yep.
Those kinds of things. And also, someone's in a team and they're the only person on edX in that team at the moment. So,
okay.
How to address those?
Yep, sure. If your idea changes as we go along, not surprising, happens all the time, you'll find something that appears much more interesting or much more viable as you're investigating the project. That's fine to move, to change. All right, these projects do change. I look after 40-odd honours projects in engineering, and it's pretty rare that what they say they're going to do in the very beginning is actually what they do at the end. Not unusual at all. Because you do learn more about the field, you learn more about what's interesting, what's been done, and things will change. If you're in a group on your own, shoot me an email. I'll see which team would actually suit you best, and we'll just move you over to there. These teams are just something we created just to hopefully start conversations. They're not locked in place. It doesn't have to be exactly that. We'll just move you to somewhere which actually suits, and perhaps introduce you to a few other students which are in a similar sort of area, and you can work from there. But yeah, we just came up with these as well, these are nice ideas, let's create these groups, and we'll sort things out as people actually join them. For instance, if we ended up with everyone in one group, we'd have to sort of break it up a bit, and it's the same if there's only one person in a group. Does that cover the questions?
Yeah, I think so. Just to remind people, there's the YouTube channel with the audio, maybe, because some people have missed things.
Oh, right.
So should be able to see it on YouTube.
All of these discussions will be recorded. We will post them on a YouTube channel. If you can't get to YouTube, let me know. But you can watch not only the ones you were involved in, but you can watch all of the others if you so. It might be good to have a little listen to see what people are actually doing when we run intros. We have 89 students, I think.
Yeah,
Josh,
roughly, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure.
89, 90, something around there. So lots of students, lots of ideas, lots of people you can interact with. Should all be very interesting, geeky, technical people in here, so could be a bit of fun. Okay, that's all of our time, but if you do have anything else, please email. I'll hang around for a few more minutes while I close off the recording, if you want to say anything. If you do have something that you don't like or don't want to share because you intend to develop it further or commercialize it in some way, just let us know and we can work ways around the submission process, etc. That you don't have to expose your intellectual property if you don't wish to. Okay, thank you everybody. Great to meet you and look forward to interacting over the next few months.